it's very popular these days for people to say, well, I'm intuitive, or I'm an intuitive, or uh, I, everywhere I go, it seems people are like, well, I'm a medium, I'm psychic. Well, what exactly does that entail? And I think that a lot of you who actually do this kind of work, or are who wanting to learn how to do this kind of work, I think you guys may find this very helpful. Someone commented on the fact that I do readings in public like this, usually because my schedule's so busy. I'm working with clients, and I take the opportunities when I can to do these for you guys. Because I'm a big believer that there are no excuses. If you want to get something done, you do it. You make it happen. And I actually like these public venues for it. I think the environments are nice. And I think the energy of the space out in public is a little more exciting than those situations where people have to be completely in a white room, nothing else, everything looks so perfect. I don't really live life that way. I think life happens out here. And someone made a comment about how people around must be very confused when they see me doing this. And it does happen sometimes. Sometimes I'll be in the middle of doing work or looking at something and people look at me like, what are you doing? And I don't care. And I don't mean that dismissively. I mean, I don't care. I mean, I've got stuff to do. I have work to do. I have clients whose work I work on. Even there's sometimes I'm on the phone with them, but some of the things I do for clients I do while I'm off the phone. I don't care. When I need to look into a situation, I look into the situation. I don't care. I don't care who's around me, because I learned early on in this business that if you let other people's opinions of what you're doing or how you're making a living affect you, you will have no clients, you will be poor, you will be stuck, and you will be at the mercy of everyone else's belief systems and their poor choices. We have a saying in Tibetan Bon that if you can't take your meditation off the cushion, what good is it? Now, I had an experience a long time ago that I think applies here. I was actually working out in a gym, and I was using the punching bag. I was practicing martial arts. I was using the punching bag, and in the middle of doing so, a woman came in the room. The yoga room was next door, and the bag with the heavy bag and the punching bags was next to the yoga room. And as I was working on the heavy bag, this woman came in and started screaming at me that I needed to stop, I needed to leave because I was interrupting the yoga class. Now, this was a big gym, and this is where they had put things, and it was not really her say who got to use what in that gym. Well, I looked at the woman and I said, it looks like your yoga isn't working. Because if we can so easily be upset by the distractions of the world around us, or the sounds, and I've had this happen in a lot of videos. People complained that either the music was playing was too loud, but then when it was completely silent, people were like, "Whoa, I can't hear you." Or then when I was in a public place, people complained that, "Well, you need to turn down the volume behind you." And I'm like, it was a public place. How am I supposed to turn down the volume behind me? People use excuses for why they don't want to learn things and why they want to dismiss someone's advice when it doesn't come in the package that they want it to come in. I know there are some parts of the country or some parts of the world where if you do this in public, you're looked down upon, or it can really even be kind of dangerous. Back when I lived in Chicago, people used to really give me dirty looks when I would do this. and there was a lot of prejudice against it. So I understand that, but I still didn't care. We let so many people's opinions and social pressure determine the quality of our lives that it's sinful. The definition of sin is when you take your gifts, your talents, and you either let someone take them for you or you give those talents to someone else voluntarily. If this is my skill, if this is my talent, if this is what I'm good at, no one has a right to tell me I can't do it or that it makes them uncomfortable. That's the first part of what I want to say about this. Now the second part, I think a lot of you may appreciate this because you may have dealt with this. When I did that video on tarot and what I said 2 days ago on the Trump impeachment, it was funny because when I was doing the video, I was actually looking at what some of the people's responses were going to be, and I started to laugh because I started to see some people who wanted to argue. Well, it certainly did happen. People wanted to argue, and people were saying, well, that's not what other people say. You're the only one who says this. Other people say this, other people say that, other people say that. This is another case where I think that you have to be really true to yourself. This is not soccer. This is not hockey. This is not basketball. You don't defend your goal. When you do divination, you look into it, you see what you see, and to the best of your ability, you communicate what's in the oracle, or what's in your impressions, or what's in your intuition. It's as simple. There is no now defend it to people afterwards. That's not how this works. This isn't basic composition class. And as someone who used to teach writing, I believe that composition classes in college are doing so much to make people believe that they've got to spit their opinions out and fight with each other about it. And I'll tell you, as someone who actually taught those classes and watched what people did in the department, that's what they wanted people to do. They wanted everyone to give their opinion and fight about it. That's literally what the departments were geared at trying to get people to do. Well, they have to comment on the issues and then argue about them. I don't care. I don't care about arguing with people. My skill, my talent, my ability, and what I'm trying to share with people on here is about showing people this is what you see, how you see it, this is how you communicate it, and then let it go. Now, if something happens and you may say, oh, well, Lynx, okay, so what if I do that and then it turns out to be wrong? Well, that's a really good question, because then what you do is you look at the oracle again and you see what changed. Because in a lot of cases, you'll see something has changed, something has shifted. Then you go back and you go, okay, well, why didn't it? Why didn't it come out? Why didn't it work? Instead of going, oh my God, I'm a complete failure and I'm not psychic, or letting someone else tell you, see, you were wrong, you go, whatever. And then you go, okay, what happened? You gaze into the situation, you look at what changed, you look at what shifted, you look at why it ended up different from what you saw. It's really very simple. This is not an arguing thing. And the funny thing is that when I started on Facebook seeing a lot of those tarot groups and those divination groups and Lenormand groups, people were fighting each other about what the meanings were and what the appropriate interpretation of this, and they would get really mean, they would get really vicious. You see it in psychic fairs, you see it where a whole bunch of people come together in pagan groups, they start fighting about what the oracle's saying, which is really kind of silly. Gaze into the oracle, you see what it has to give, you communicate it the best you can, and then you let it go. And then you move on to the next one or the next thing. If you continue to do that, and you do that well, then you get better and better and better. Here's the other thing. When someone comes to me and they say, well, everyone else says this, and you see this, I usually know I'm on the right track, because historically, popular opinion is rarely right. This is what it means. You defend and have confidence in what you have to say by simply stating it. You don't fight about it. You don't set up the, I'm going to defend it now. You simply say, well, this is my impression of the situation, that's it. You don't defend by getting into a fight with 50 people over what your intuition has told you. Intuition tells you, hey, I got a vibe about this. This is not right. Then you can ask, well, why isn't it right? Or you can ask, what's going wrong here? Or you can ask, what's standing out? What's missing? What's this person's motivations? There's all sorts of ways you can do that. But to fight about, well, my intuition says this is what I see, and then feel like you have to defend it to people, that's only going to weaken your ability, and it's only going to put investment in illusion. I hope this subject matter makes some sense and helps some people out there. If you really are intuitive, if you really are psychic, quite often the impressions that you get will be very different from what popular opinion gets. Quite often you may get something that's different from what everyone else is seeing. That's kind of the nature of intuition. It tells you, hey, this is my impression, and if other people don't agree, and you start to go, well, my impression must be wrong. Well, now you're setting up a war against yourself. Now you're fighting yourself and you're teaching yourself to doubt yourself. So when you give an intuitive flash and you get a real sense of intuition, you follow it. This is what I get. This is what I see. I'm going to dance with it rather than fighting against it and trying to control how other people view me or control myself based on their decisions of what I should be. And usually, if you follow your own intuition and you follow your own sense, it's going to protect you. It's going to take you to new places where you deepen that. I'm Lucky Lynx, as always, wishing you success and good fortune in all that you do. Hey, if you guys want to learn to read these babies, these are Mexican Loteria. I got a class on how to do it. I got a class on how to read the tarot, a class on how to read the tarot basic and how to read the tarot advanced. Lenormand Basic, Lenormand Grand Tableau. I got one on how to read crystal balls. I got one on how to read playing cards. And if you would like to get a reading from me, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com if you'd like to either take a class with me or get a reading from me. And if for those of you who, I got a lot of clients now who are doing kill core work. The kill core is a Tibetan map. I build the map, and then we look at what the energies are at work in your life. And then what we do is we can start to shift what's going on in the kill core to bring other things into being for you or take obstacles out. If you'd like to do that, contact me, 779-302-8009 or conjurehope@gmail.com. Hey, for those of you who have donated, I'm very grateful, and thank you very much. And if you like these videos and you want to donate to help keep them coming, I'm going to put my PayPal, my Venmo below. Remember, intuition is not something you fight over. It's not something you have to defend. Put it out there. That's it.